you've got about $700,000 and you're looking at St. Catharines from Toronto, the question isn't whether it's cheaper. You already know it is. The question is what the $700,000 actually turns into once you're here. Which pocket, which street, and what you give up. I'm going to walk you through what that number really buys in this city right now using what actually has sold, not what's listed. And I'll tell you who shouldn't make this move at all. Stay to the end for the pocket most agents will never send to you. I'm David Hildebrand, your St. Catharines relocation expert, and I work with families just like yours each and every week to make the move to St. Catharines. If you're making the move in the next 6 months, my free St. Catharines relocation guide is linked in the description below. It's the same one I send to all of my clients. So let's start with where $700,000 puts you on the map. St. Catharines isn't one market. It's about 20 pockets and they don't move together. Last quarter, the average detached in Martindale Pond came in at just over $1 million on 10 sales. Greatview is over that as well and is priced out of this conversation entirely. Rykert Van Sickle averaged $766,000 on 10 sales. Lakeshore averaged $784,000 on 22 sales. Glendale came in at $736,000 on 20 sales. So at $700,000, those 5 pockets are a stretch. You're buying the smaller house on the street or you're having to move up a little. Now come down the list. Lakeport averaged $680 on 17 sales, Vine and Linwell $645 on 39 sales, and that's the most reliable family detached number in the whole data set because 39 sales is real volume. Now Bunting and Linwell $634 on 21 sales, Carleton and Bunting $575 on 25 sales. So here's what all of that means. At $700,000, you're not scraping the bottom of the city. In most of St. Catharines, $700 sits above what's actually selling. You're shopping up, not down. That's a completely different feeling than shopping in Toronto at the same number, and it changes what you should be looking for. Let me make it concrete because averages are abstract. At $766,000 in Van Sickle, you're in the West End, in a newer build with a bigger footprint, mature trees, walk to school streets, 5 minutes to the 406, and 5 minutes to the GO station. That's the suburban trade. More house, but more car. At $645 in Vine and Linwell, you're in the North End, older stock mostly, but real lots, established streets, and you've got $50,000 to $60,000 left over. That leftover is the part people forget. That's the new kitchen, or the finished basement, or just not being stretched. And at $680 in Lakeport, you're close to the water without paying what the top of the market commands. 17 sales isn't a huge number, but it's enough to say this pocket is a real option, not a rumor. It's the trade a lot of people don't realize they can make until someone shows them the number. Let me give you a real one. A couple of years back, I moved a Toronto family here, parents plus 2 of their adult kids and their families. 3 households, 3 different budgets, 3 completely different wish lists. They knew nothing about the city when they called me. If I had done the lazy thing and pointed out all 3 to the same neighborhood, at least 2 of them would have been unhappy inside of a year. They ended up in 3 different pockets. That's the job. Now, the Toronto side of this, you already know the shape of the answer because you've been looking. $700 in Toronto is a condo or it's a townhouse a long way out or it's a detached that needs everything. Here, $700 is a detached house with a decent yard in a pocket you'd actually choose. That's the whole trade, and it's why the number by itself is the least interesting part of this conversation. And do the math on the leftover because it's not small. $55,000 of difference between a $645,000 house and a $700,000 house isn't just $55,000. On a mortgage, that's a payment difference every single month for 25 years. I don't have the lending numbers, that's a job for your mortgage broker, but ask them to run both the numbers side by side before you fall in love with the bigger house. Most people never ask and they feel it every single month. Now one more thing at this price point, and I'd rather say it plainly than let you find out later. There are two areas where the number looks great and the reason matters. Western Hill averaged 442 last quarter on 16 sales. It's one of the cheapest detached pockets in the city. The concrete reason for a young family that they normally pass up on is that it's a high concentration of student rentals tied to Brock. That's not a knock on anyone, it's just a different street rhythm than most families with a 4-year-old are picturing. And downtown, 497,000 on 39 sales, tied with Vine and Linwell for the highest sales count on the whole list. That market functions just fine. High volume with real activity. It's not a value problem. It's a fit question. Do you want to be walking to Montebello Park and to restaurants, or do you want the yard? Both are legitimate answers, just answer it on purpose for you. Here's the part that isn't in any price search, and it's the part that costs people the most money. Days on market. Citywide this year, homes went from taking 57 days to sell in January to 37 days in June. So the market got faster through the half, but the averages hides enormous differences. The last time I pulled pocket level speed numbers, Midtown, which is in the Hague area, ran 17 days on market at 99% of list. Meriton in Oakdale ran 74 days at 92%. Those two pockets are minutes apart, both are lower priced, and they behave like completely opposite markets within the same city. That's not the kind of gap that closes in a single quarter. So if you read a headline that says St. Catharines has high inventory and you should take your time to buy, that's only half true. Citywide, there were about 2.4 new listings for every sale in the first half of the year. That's real choice. But in Midtown, if you tour a house on Saturday and think about it until Wednesday, it could be gone and it went for full price. Lots of choice with less time to decide. That's the honest version. Which brings me to who this doesn't work for. If you're in a Toronto office 5 days a week, don't do this. The Go runs year-round weekday service now, and it's roughly an hour and a half to 2 hours to get to Union. 2 days a week, that's a trade a lot of people are happy to make. 5 days a week, well, that's 4 hours of your day, and I've watched people try it and hate it. I'd rather tell you this now than sell you a house that you're going to resent in 8 months. 2 or 3 days in the office, remote the rest, that's who the city works for. What would I actually do with $700,000? Well, I'd start by deciding whether you want the newer house or the better location. Because at that number in this city, you can genuinely have either one, and almost nobody has both. If you want newer and bigger, look west, Van Sickle, and a stretch a little further into Lakeshore if you're willing to go past 700. If you want to stay right around 700 and keep money in your pocket, well, let's look at the north end. Vine and Linwell, Bunting and Linwell, and look hard at Lakeport if being close to the water actually matters to you, because it's just down the street from Port Dalhousie. And whichever way you go, ask for days on market and the sale to list for that specific pocket before you write an offer. Not the city number, the pocket number. That's the homework, and it's the thing you can't do from Toronto. If you want me to run those pocket numbers for the areas you're looking at, book a call with me. The link's in the description. It's 30 minutes and there's nothing to sign. It's no obligation. If you've enjoyed watching this content and you want to learn more about the city of St. Catharines, again, grab my free relocation guide for St. Catharines. It goes over everything from commute times to schools, neighborhoods, prices, everything you could want when looking to move to the city of St. Catharines. You can just click the link in the description below and I will send it right over. And if you're still humming and hawing about what the commute looks like from Toronto, should I do it, should I not, and what that all entails, you're gonna wanna watch this next video where I go over everything with regards to commute times and how long it actually takes to get from Toronto to St. Catharines during every part of the day. You're gonna wanna check out that video. I'll see you in that one.